Okay, I'm going to go over the 511 Skyweight Utility Chest Pack, on packaging it and then a review of it. So opening it up, comes in a bag, it's got some silica packs in there, and we'll go over the pack itself. I did a review of their smaller chest pack, which is actually very similar in size right here, and the big difference though is this one just has one concealed carry compartment right there and one section of laser cut MOLLE attachment on there, and that is it. This pack on the other hand has a little bit different. It has a bungee pocket on the front right here, you can see, and it's kind of like a stretchy, I don't even know what you'd call the material. Stretchy material, but this is not stretchy at the top here, but the material itself is. So this is kind of a fixed point that it can go to, and then this pocket there. This also has right here another pocket, right, kind of just a small utility pocket with a zipper. It has the utility pocket, hence the name the utility. Another silica pack. So you have a bunch of utility in here, as the name implies. So it does have a little gusset right there on the side, so it won't just spill open when you put supplies in there. But on the very front here, you have some mesh pockets and some elastic pockets. And then you have in here kind of the same thing, more mesh, more stretchy elastic. And then you also have two pockets right here, and then a little clip here for like keys and things like that. So this is a big difference from the original that just has the CCW pocket, where this one also has the main CCW pocket right here. And I did go over in briefly, but I will do it better right now, about different holster options. So with chest packs such as this that have the loop Velcro in here, and another similar pack is the Hill People Gear Recon, or the chest packs. Depending on the version of the Hill People Gear, they just have a strip down the middle. Hill People Gear recommends that you can just put a pistol in there without any kind of guard on there and just set it in there. And I imagine the same is for this pack. The design is similar. It's stiff enough that you're not going to be able to squeeze the trigger through the fabric. There is a loop down here, so if you have a trigger guard, which I'll show you, you can put a pistol with the trigger guard on there. But I like to use, and I'll show you them right now, Crossbreed makes these universal, they call them universal holsters, or modular holsters. I think they're the modular holster. But they have hook Velcro on the back, and then if you look at them, there's a layer of leather, some spacers, and then Kydex that is gun specific. And this one is a SIG P938. But these you can just mount in there just like that. And then they are in there pretty good, and then you can just draw from there. You could, you know, change the angle how you want it in there. The other option, more expensive option, a lot of custom Kydex makers will make a Kydex holster that is flat and that has the hook Velcro on the back. I don't even remember who made this one, but this one is for a P365 with a light on there. Here is a P365, it is empty. You can see just fits in there like that. And then, you know, it's got some retention in there. But as you can see, this pistol's a little big, so you'd have to put it at, you know, a little bit of an angle, such as that right there. And then you can just draw, you know, out the waist that way. So this is pretty impressive. I do have a Hill People Gear chest pack, and as a lower cost alternative, this is pretty nice, because you do have this CCW compartment right here. Right off the bat, I'm not a fan of the really tiny zippers and super tiny little pulls. These are really tiny, but they do offer the pulls on here. And you can see you've got a right one and a left one as you're wearing it. So what you can do with these pulls is if you're going to draw from this side, you can tuck this one in, zip this up, zip it up right there, leave this pull tab there, and maybe, you know, if you want, you can put some red tape or something on it, but as you're wearing it, you would just pull that tab and it opens up. That's one option. And just to show reference, even the other model has the very small zipper pulls on there. And just to show the difference, this is Hill People gear. They have bigger, much bigger zipper pulls. And Hill People gear, some of theirs I've seen with these plastic things on the pulls, and some of them are just knotted 550 cord. But what I did not like on my Hill People gear, it did not have those tabs, the quick rip open tabs like the 511 has. And on mine, which is an older one, it just has a small strip of Velcro in here. So some holsters won't get as good of an attachment in there. So as they show on here, you know, CCW ready. So that's your concealed carry pocket right there. Hot pull tabs, which are these right there. We just went over that. Part of me is like, I kind of wish they made them a brighter color. And then the other part of me is like, I'm glad they didn't, because you might not want people to notice them. And these blend in really good. Most people wouldn't even know what they are, but you would know what they are. If they were colored, they would probably stand out too much. It does say IFAK, so individual first aid kit ready. To me, that's down here. You could put a tourniquet pouch, a small pouch, a MOLLE attachment on there. Just to give you an idea of the size, so I have a, what is it, a cat tourniquet in a tactical assault gear tourniquet pouch. So there's a tourniquet in there. This would fit on there pretty nicely in a pouch like that, just to give you an idea. And then also their other model, the smaller one, has the same attachment down there. Other features on this, like I said, there is a little bit of loop Velcro on here. Not sure what you can attach on there, but it kind of goes around both sides. Maybe you can put I know they sell little tiny little patches now. Like I said, there's some extra loops right here on both sides. You can see right there, so you can attach more items. Like I said, I do like how, you know, your concealed carry pouch flips all the way open. This secondary pouch, it has those gussets in there. So I like that because it's not going to spill out. And let's see what the tag says here. Out of curiosity. Made in Vietnam. So this pouch will love you a long time. Removable harness, which is nice. Let's take a look at that. So what they mean by that, you can wear this obviously as a chest pack. You get your chest harness. But if you take this harness off, there is a pass-through in here, and there's actually Velcro in there, so it spreads apart, and as you can see, my hand goes all the way through. So you can slip this over a belt and make it into a fanny pack, which is pretty cool. There's a secondary, smaller pocket that passes through. It's almost like if you just have a small belt. So you can put actually a really big padded belt through here, or a small belt through there, right there. There's for the small belt. And then here's a big pass through, so if you have like a big belt. And what I do like about these 511 packs versus Hill People gear, and I'll show you that right now. And this is strictly my personal preference. So there you can see the back of the Hill People gear, and here is the back of the 511. Both 511s are identical. They're actually the same physical footprint, just this bottom one is thicker and has more compartments. So Hill People gear does kind of a air channel space here, like this. You can see there's no padding, but there's padding here. They kind of do the opposite. They do horizontal, where it's less padding. There's padding here. There's no padding in here. It's just fabric to fabric. Here, there is padding, and there is still padding. But what I like about the 511, and I live in the Arkansas Ozarks, it is hot and humid here a lot. So here you have that air mesh, there's foam, and then it's got a layer of like mesh over it. So when you're sweating, this feels dry against your body, and it kind of like wicks moisture away. When this gets wet and sweaty, it just stays wet and sweaty. The air mesh is not as durable. You know, if you get like some Velcro caught on it, it pills really easy. But comfort-wise, hands down, this is better. And if you look at the harness itself, there's some on the back of the harness. If you look at the Hill People gear, they just do mesh on the back. So you can see this is just mesh. And then the 511 does mesh, but it does solid fabric on the back of the mesh. So there's a little bit of foam in there, so it will appear dry, but it can trap a little bit of moisture in there, unlike the Hill People gear. So that's one, you know, plus a little bit of a minus, but it's such a small minus that I wouldn't worry about it too much. I want to just show you the size of this just so you can get a better understanding of the concealed carry compartment. So here is the concealed carry compartment. Just to show you again, I have another pistol that is empty. You can see empty, empty. This is a Glock 19 with a trigger guard. And you can see it fits in there with room to spare. You could put a much bigger gun in there if you wanted to. And then these are those trigger guards I was telling you about. So there you can see it's looped in there. And this, I would shorten this down. If you ever saw my other video on drawing from these, I had some problems and some tangles up. So see this distance on here? Shorten this down so it's literally just where you want the pistol to be. And that way, when you pull the gun, it snaps out of the trigger guard. So you would put it in there and then just draw. And this way, this protects the trigger, you know, and then you have a really good way to carry in here. And a pretty safe way. Just to give you an idea of what you might be able to fit in some of these pouches. So this front kind of stretchy pouch here, if you're a homesteader, you might have like a Fleur thermal, small thermal. You know, that would fit in this front pocket pretty easily. And the way it's designed, so when you're wearing it, it'll be against your chest. You know, it's gonna hold it in there pretty good with this stretchy material. And then you've got, you know, like I said, you got the small compartment. You can put, you know, smaller items in there. This would be a really good, if you wanted to do like a first aid kit. And once again, I'm just trying to give you some ideas to show you the size of this. So here's something, it's a North American Rescue Public Access Bleed Control Kit. So this has, you know, everything you need for an IFAK. You've got a tourniquet in here, a cat tourniquet. You've got all kinds of, you know, just everything. The easy button. And as you can see, it's almost as if it was made for that. And then you still have room here. You still have room here. You know, you could fit this, though a little tighter now, but it's stretchy material. So you can still fit that thermal in there, and then kind of max this thing out capacity-wise. Throw a Glock 19 in there. And it is a lot harder to zipper. Okay, so as you can see, I've got it zipped up. There's a Glock 19 in there, a whole first aid kit, and a thermal, you know. But it holds it all very nicely. And I hate to say it, but it is not much more expensive than the other model, and you get a lot more capacity. So it really depends on what you want to do with it though, because unfortunately with most things like this, if you have the space, you will fill it. So as nice as it is to have all this space, if you really don't think you need it, this model is still a great alternative. This model will just hold, you know, your CCW pistol in there, and then maybe a couple small items here, you know, clip a knife onto here, You can still put a tourniquet down there, but there's no other pockets anywhere on this. It's just this main compartment. And then a couple elastic loops in there. And then just to give you an idea of the size, so this is the regular kit bag. And you can see this is actually a little bit smaller. Not much, but it is smaller. So you can kind of see. And, you know, a lot of people are like, well, it's smaller. But if you're a guy like me, I'm not a big dude, this actually fits me much better. I'm really contemplating getting rid of this and just keeping this one, because this will do everything I need to do with this at a much lower cost. Pluses and minuses of the differences of the two. One thing I like about the Hill People gear, made in America. It's heavier Cordura fabric. You know, it's just one of those items. You have it and you just have it for life. You know, the 511, it is more of the material is like what you would see on a backpacking backpack. It's like a micro grid ripstop. If you look on here, I mean, it's pretty durable though, because I have the other one like that, and I use often, and I figured this stuff would wear pretty quick, and it really doesn't. So it's pretty durable for the weight. So don't, you know, it's not really a negative, I guess. Some people want kind of like that body on frame, like a pickup truck, even though they don't go off-road, they just want it because they think it's better. And it's kind of the same thing with the Cordura. You know, it's just a heavier fabric, but some of these new fabrics are really good. And like I said, this is just, I do like this a lot. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to do some outdoor testing of it, but thanks again for watching, and hopefully this was helpful. Big camera. I'm still waiting for the temperature in my water to be perfect. It's still warming up. And then end it there. Thanks. Like and subscribe. I gotta support this shirt because it was a gift. And I love it. I do. So thanks again. Bye.